Have you ever stopped to wonder what your life would be like if you weren't worried about money? What would your relationships look like, maybe with your spouse or your children? How would you show up in your community? Could you give more to your church? Could you let go of guilt and actually share and give your full self and be present to create in the moment? That is an incredible feeling that most of us desire our entire lives. And with retirement, that's an opportunity for you to realize financial freedom for the first time in your life. It's an opportunity for you not to have to work and earn money and get by and budget, but it's a chance for your money to be able to support you. This is where one of the biggest challenges for people mentally, emotionally, and psychologically sets in, and it's the battle of abundance and scarcity. See, when you're working and cash flow is coming in and you have consistency and predictability in your finances, it's easy to feel abundant. You know where your next check's coming from, you know how much you can spend, you know how much your budget is, and it's easy to live within those means. Now, for some of us, it's not. But for most people, they can generate that type of abundance with cash flow. But when you retire, all the rules change. And now all of a sudden, you don't have this predictable, guaranteed income that's coming in every single week or month based on wages that you earn or the business that you've created. Now what you've built over your entire life has to take care of you, and you don't have a job for the next 30 to 40 years. So what do you do to make sure that you can stave off that scarcity? Because what will happen is it creeps in subtly and starts to manipulate and change a lot of the decisions that you really want to make and the money that you want to share and give with others, and you don't even realize it. Maybe your spouse realizes it really well, or maybe your kids recognize it. Maybe your pastor recognizes it and can see it in you. But for those of us that are holding on to our wealth and not eager to distribute it before we die, there's a real sickness of the mind there, and it's called scarcity. And so what we do at Nations First Financial is we've built a process to help remove that and allow our clients to live in the abundance mindset. So my personal mission is to help people realize their purpose with this season of life of retirement. So what does that really mean? Well, in order to realize your purpose, you have to be able to experience fulfillment and joy and a giving and a level of satisfaction that you cannot have when scarcity is present. And so we have a process that we use to actually help our clients to eradicate scarcity, remove that fear and anxiety, and allow them to show up as their best selves. And the process actually belongs to a very well-known economist by the name of Tom Hegna. See, Tom Hegna has been talking about this for 2 decades, and he says that the more he studies retirement, the simpler and simpler it gets. There's 2 steps to this process. Now, the outcome is different for everybody because everybody's situation is different. But the reality is, if you want to be in the abundance mindset, where you can be your best self and show up to fulfill your purpose with this season of life called retirement, then the 2 things you have to do are, you have to get enough guaranteed lifetime income. Why do you need guaranteed lifetime income? Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, we don't know how long anyone's going to live. So if we don't know how long you're going to live, it is mathematically impossible, as Tom says, to optimize the perfect withdrawal strategy over the indefinite period of a human life. You cannot do it. Without knowing that variable, it is impossible to optimize the withdrawal of your finances. So the most terrifying thing for everybody is that they would run out of money in their lifetime. And if you've ever experienced a senior going through this level of anxiety, it's absolutely something that you know you want to avoid. But I would say equally as devastating, maybe not as tragic, but equally as sad in my book would be completely under-enjoying your life to make sure that that doesn't happen. And underspending and working time on this earth for money to accumulate wealth that you just simply didn't use unintentionally. To me, that would be a sad existence. And so for a lot of people, they understand this principle. In fact, there's a great book called Die with Zero that really highlights this principle very well that I recommend to all my clients. But the other reason guaranteed lifetime income is extremely important is it worked before we broke the system. If you look back at America, everybody used to work for a corporation for 30 years, then they'd retire and they'd get a pension. And they had guaranteed lifetime income for them and their spouse for as long as they live. And there was no retirement planning. There was no retirement planners. There was no industry that existed to help people with retirement. Everybody had a great quality retirement because they had guaranteed lifetime income. Now you fast forward to the late 80s, early 90s, corporations are struggling to compete internationally. They realize that it's much cheaper to match a 401k contribution for people who contribute than to provide guaranteed lifetime incomes for their employees and their spouses for as long as they live. So they switch from the defined benefit plan to the defined contribution plan. Enter the 401k. Now you put all of these people in America into a financial instrument that depends on them to save for their own retirement with no investment training, no training on when to rebalance, no training on how to allocate, no training on what tax selection to utilize, no training on how much they can pull out in withdrawals. And you fast forward 40 years from there to today, and now we have the retirement crisis, the baby boomer dilemma, the 2035 problem. We have 10,000 baby boomers retiring a day, and the statistics show that most of them are unprepared and don't have enough wealth to be able to make it for the rest of their lives. So it's a failed experiment, and we're getting to see the problem with that. So the proof is that guaranteed lifetime income has always worked. And in fact, if you look back at our history, it's worked for thousands of years. This is nothing new. It was used by the ancient Romans, European governments, early colonies in the Americas. It's been used for 100 years here in America to provide CEOs and executives, members of the military, and certain members in education and healthcare a guaranteed lifetime income. In fact, a lot of people go to work to achieve this pension. If you ask people, hey, what kind of retirement do you have? Do you have a 401k or pension? Most people go, oh gosh, I was like the last group before they cut the pension. I didn't make it in the pension. But the people that do have pensions go, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Thank God I have my pension. It's interesting, right? So again, guaranteed lifetime income works, and it has to be increasing lifetime income. We're going to talk about that next. If you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to cover your basic needs and expenses, which are going to come from Social Security, pensions, and some form of an annuity, and that income is increasing for the rest of your life, then step 2 is really simple. All you need to do is remove the key risks around that income, and what we found is the probability of portfolio failure goes to 0. This is what Tom Hegna has studied for over 20 years, and we just use his process because it works. So what are those retirement risks? Well, we're all seeing inflation, and this is why increasing income is so important. What if taxes go up and that lowers your net income check? That's a big deal. We need to have a way to deal with that. What if there's too much market risk? For instance, if the market goes down and your income's derived from the market, then your income could potentially go down, or you'd be taking out more, increasing the chance you'd run out faster. This brings in our next 2 risks, which is sequence of return risk and sequence of withdrawal risk. When you earn your returns and when you make your withdrawals from your retirement portfolio matters. And there's ways to do it right and there's ways to do it wrong under the risk. There's interest rate risk. What if you're a CD investor and CD rates are going down? Your income is going down. There's concentration risk. What if too much of your assets are with one company and that company fails? That could be a significant problem. What if you need long-term care, and what if one of your spouses passes away before the other? These are the key risks. And what we found is if you leave risk on the table, all you're doing is inviting in the probability that something can go wrong. And if Murphy's Law has taught us anything, what can go wrong probably will go wrong. So the strategy that Tom outlaid is, hey, let's have increasing lifetime income that covers all your basic needs and expenses and is going to grow in increments of 5 to 10 years or every year for the rest of your life. Then let's remove the key risks that could mess up that income. If you do that, guess what you have? A phenomenal opportunity to build wealth, a phenomenal opportunity to put your money in something that can grow and appreciate and continue to build in retirement. Because now you have a new time horizon for that money. If all of your bases are covered and you have certainty that no matter what happens, you've transferred all those risks away and there's nothing that could go wrong that would impact the rest of your life, this is how you arrive at the abundance mindset. It's a simple process that people can actually mathematically guarantee using the right types of tools, and then they can be in a great position for their wealth to explode. In fact, we've seen our clients do phenomenally well after they've covered all their bases. Why? Because again, mentally, psychologically, and emotionally, they've changed. They know they're good. They can now be even more successful wealth builders in retirement. That money has a new time horizon. They don't need it. It can grow for the rest of their life. And so if you use this process, you can really increase the chances that you're going to enjoy your money significantly more in retirement. Remember, when it comes to retirement income, there's only 2 levers. You can increase the income from the distribution of your assets, or you can decrease your monthly obligation from your liabilities. That's it. There is nothing else. So as much as we study income creation, we equally, and if not more, study debt elimination. I want to give you an example. A lot of people I come across say, oh, I have my car loan at 3%, or I have my mortgage at 2.9%. I'll never pay that off. That's good debt. Where am I ever going to get that again? I make that many times over. Really? Well, what I want you to do is the next time you get your statement from one of these companies that you're happy with the debt and the interest rate, I want you to take the amount of interest and divide it by the total payment. What you will arrive at is what's called your effective interest cost. And then I challenge you to ask yourself if you're still comfortable with that payment. See, this is amortization explained in a simple way that people don't really understand. They go, I have a 2% rate on my car loan, I'm making 4% on my savings account, therefore I'm doing well. Actually, that's not the case. Finance and financiers are smart, and they always have it stacked in their favor. A lot of times when we do that cash flow analysis to see what are your basic needs and expenses and how we're going to cover that with guaranteed lifetime income, the safest and fastest way for clients to improve their cash flow is to just reduce their debt. And so these are some of the tools and strategies we look at to make sure that we can help people to understand how to embrace this so that they can live fully and enjoy their money the most. See, what's interesting right now is there's a phenomenon going on that has coined the phrase the annuity puzzle. Academics across America, economists studying all over the United States, have formed a website where you can go to and basically you can read thousands of papers where economists studying all over the country are in support of annuities. We'll put the link down below. And so the academics realize that, hey, they've studied the math, they've studied the life expectancy, they've studied all these different scenarios and financial strategies and different formulas and different ways to allocate your money in retirement. And what they've all unilaterally agreed is that guaranteed lifetime income that only annuities can provide is the optimal choice. Yet the financial people in our country disagree strongly. In fact, if you spend a little time on TV or any time online, it won't be long before you come across some anti-annuity campaigns. So you have a big smear campaign going on, a marketing war that America is in the grips of, where you have some people that are pro-lifetime income and some people that are very, very anti-lifetime income, claiming that they can invest your money and do better. Hence the annuity puzzle. The academics agree, but the mainstream public does not. In fact, they generally have a negative opinion on annuities, which is ironic because they have such a positive favorability towards their pension. So it's unique because literally you could look at the function of an annuity and the function of pension and say that they're similar, but yet one is hated and one is loved. And so that's what has created this thing called the annuity puzzle, which is economists don't understand why this is. Well, I'll explain to you why this is and why there's an annuity smear campaign going on. And it's not some big conspiracy. It's really simple. Financial services is the largest industry in America. It's in the hundreds of billions. Some argue the trillions, depending on which source you look at. So that being said, if it's the largest industry in America, then obviously there's going to be different camps that want to improve their firms, and there's some firms that only advise your money for a fee. Hence, if they run into somebody who's getting guaranteed lifetime cash flow from an annuity, they will not be able to invest that money and collect their fee. So what have they done? They've done a marketing campaign, which we've seen in politics for years. Let's bash one side, let's polarize the argument, and let's bring them over to my side. And this is highly effective because all they need to do is create enough doubt so that when they're shown an annuity or contemplating an annuity, they know in their mind from seeing it enough times, that's at least not the route I'm going to go. I'm going to go get a second opinion. This marketing campaign is highly effective. Unfortunately, it's very detrimental to the perception of annuities, hence the economists coining an economic dilemma around Americans' understanding on these products and how they can benefit their retirement. You have Americans who are literally starving for lifetime income, yet the majority of them disdain the one tool that can provide that on a guaranteed basis. And so you just have to look at how these firms are paid. If you look at the data from LIMRA, Americans are actually starting to now purchase more annuities in the tens of billions every year. So if you're a financial firm that charges money for a fee, that means that you're losing market share in the tens of billions. Remember, it's several $100 billion industry, potentially $1 trillion. But most of the statistics I look at show it's about in the hundreds of billions. So that's a lot of market share you're losing every single year. So again, it's important not to get caught up in what the financial people are saying. It's important to look at what the economists are saying. They don't sell anything. They're showing you their studied view on what is the optimal way to create your retirement. And where this all comes down to is, look, it just comes back to that simple process. If you want to enjoy life, if you want to be a different version of yourself, if you don't want to wrestle with this battle and you want the confidence and peace of mind knowing that everything's going to be taken care of and you can enjoy life to the fullest, to take the time to realize what your purpose is in that season, this is the process you can follow. I hope this information was helpful, and I hope to see you very soon.